And this video is May new books on mostly American history in terms of like foundations of America. But there's also a couple books on Britain and Germany. So I think I put these in order. So here, no, maybe not. There's a book on France here too. I think these are all surrounding the origins of the United States. So here's the Federation and the Constitution, 1783 to 1789, by Andrew C. McLaughlin. This is published in 65, I guess. Nice pocket paperback on the Confederation, 62. And I need to know more about these things. I certainly don't know a lot about the origins of the Confederation. And the next book, which kind of goes along with it, is The Birth of the Bill of Rights, 1776 to 1791. This is by Robert Allen Rutland. Also a nice pocket paperback. This is 62. So, if I remember rightly, the Constitution had a lot of restrictions on government, but some people at the time believed that that wasn't enough, that we need to also have a document that says what freedoms and liberties a person should have. And so there was a great debate about that, and some people didn't want a Bill of Rights, but eventually they got one. So I think that is what that will be about. Here is Stilwell and the American Experience in China, 1911 to 1945, so just at the end of the World War II. I don't know what Stilwell is. I guess I'll find out, but I thought that's interesting. This is published 78. It's got a few pictures in here, I guess, of American involvement in China. Did you know that at one point Japan invaded mainland China? Doesn't that sound ridiculous to you? Japan, the dinky island, invades giant China. Well, it happened. Well, it happened. Here's Voices of the American Revolution by the People's Centennial Commission. So this is by some group, I guess, who published this. Celebrating 200 years of independence. Published in, I guess, in 1976. 74. And it talks about the American Revolution then and now. The Living Declaration today. Wow. And here's a book on the Civil War. Stillness. A Stillness at Appomattox. No, Appomattox. A Stillness at Appomattox by Bruce Catton. Published in 53-66. Civil War book. What was the stillness at Appomattox? There must have been something going on there. Here's For Honor's Sake, 1812, the War of 1812, Brokering of an Uneasy Peace. Mark Zuehlke. This was published in 2006. Got some nice pictures. That's some maps. I mean, got some nice maps here. Anyways, 1812. Canada, I believe, was involved, but at the time we were still a British colony. And some natives. Was it Last of the Mohicans? Last of the Mohicans, I think, is about 1812, War of 1812. Here's John Adams in the American Revolution by Catherine Drinker Bowen. I have a book by her on Francis Bacon. Francis Bacon, The Temper of a Man by Bowen. So here's a book on John Adams, which is great. Published in 1950. And John Adams, here he is right here. An important man, I am told. An important man. So, all about him. The story of young John Adams and the dramatic events in which he was leader. Here's a nice looking book. I think this will be a good one. Here's The Peacemakers, The Great Powers and American Independence by Richard B. Morris. This is published in 65, first edition. The Great Powers, so it must be about Britain and France and all that. Britain or France helped the United States win that war. And this book, I want to keep mentioning it in my videos because I'm hoping someone will know and they can then tell me. The book has riveted ends of the pages. They're not all nice and flat. Is that a sign of age or is that intentional? I don't know. I have very few books that do that. I would say I might have 10 books that are like that. So I'm leaning towards whether it's a sign of age, but that doesn't make sense. It can't be it. But why would that be a style? Because it doesn't look very nice. So I don't know. Okay, now some random European kind of books. Here's Fatal Purity, Robespierre and the French Revolution by Ruth Spurt. I've been interested in the French Revolution because I want to compare it to the American Revolution. Both France and Britain have traditions of liberty. France has a different kind of liberty, though. Unfortunately, a poor culture today. A lot of the policies they have, 2006. But I'm very curious, especially about the actual French Revolution, because you may know that a lot of people died on that day. A lot of people got their heads chopped off that day. And to me, including Robespierre, there was a battle between the nobles and the peasants. And actually very much alike the battles that happened in China of peasants versus nobles. And, well, peasants versus peasants, I guess, as well. So I'm just wondering why the giant bloodbath was necessary for the French Revolution. Okay, here's a dark and evil book, but a necessary one. There's the Gurbles Diaries. Goebbels, German Nazi, 1942 to 1943. I have the final entries. So there's a series. I don't know if there's 4 books, something like that, 4 tomes. This book also has the riveted pages, by the way. This was printed in 1948. Wow, really? 1948? Yeah. That was not long after the war. Wonder how they got all this stuff together and printed it, I guess. I read... interesting. Did Goebbels survive? There's a picture of Goebbels in here being interviewed by the author. Did Goebbels survive the war? And what happened? Did he not go to jail or anything? That's interesting. I know Goebbels was part of propaganda and movies and plays and things like that, literature for the Germans. So, anyways, like I said, I've got the final entries, which is 1945, I think. So this is some more than 42 and 43. So I'll see what's in there someday. Okay, now a couple on England. Here's Population, Economy, and Society in Pre-Industrial England by J.D. Chambers. This is published in 72. So another book, a nice book on pre-industrial England. And one more, I found at a library sale. Her Majesty's Secret Service, The Making of the British Intelligence Community by Christopher Andrew. This is printed in 85-86, so this is about British intelligence. Kind of like the James Bond stuff, MI6, just kind of curious. I think of I don't know, could you call them the most notorious spy and intelligence agencies? Britain, United States, although maybe not so much, maybe just Britain. Certainly the movies that make it out to be so, that Britain is the host of spies. But if you watch enough James Bond movies, you'll find that Spies are everywhere, and every country funds them. Just James Bond never seems to die, but that's fine. Anyways, so that's it for American and European history, I guess, for May.